Good evening. At the outset, let me remind you last time we had the conversation about this wonderful book called Helping, which was written by Edgar Schein. And we had a good, may I say, overview during the month of May when we did a review of this chapter 7, which is part of the book Helping, and we understood some theoretical aspects we tried to cover. It was a mini chapter review, and we had questions. We had a healthy discussion that happened. What I thought as a follow up for the pivot session this time is to see if we can handle some personal experiences related to this chapter, and that's the reason how this pivot session came into the plan. And for this, I requested three colleagues who are playing for uh, Airbenders to volunteer. And actually, we had volunteering by Kanva, by Bharat, and by Sanjay. And the three of them basically stepped forward and said, we'd like to share experiences. And after a brief conversation, I guess we have some kind of sharing available to everybody so that all else can benefit from this. So how are we structured today's session is that I would go about asking questions to these three friends, and what we should do is pause in between and listen to your own personal experiences that seem to be similar or related to what Kanba would speak about, or what Bharat would speak about, or what Sanjay would speak about, because they are going to bring examples from the ground. And sometimes the examples could also be from personal lives outside of airbenders. But these are all very, very valuable insights, which we can quickly log on to and then say, all right, I have a thought, I have an experience similar to what, let's say, Sanjay is talking about, and this is what happened with me. And this would be a great way of engaging on this topic. And I felt this is a good logical conclusion to our inquiry into this chapter on helping. For me, that is not the end of the line, but it's the beginning of your own experience with the chapter, your own reading of it in future. But at least from a pivot session point of view, this would be a great way to conclude whatever we discussed about this chapter last time. So these are the three questions that you're seeing on screen, hopefully, where we're talking about three important keywords. One is, what is my role in this team, right? So the question, if I have to understand further in depth, the question would be like, or a bunch of questions would really be like, what have been your personal experience of being a team member at Airbenders? How have you experienced your role? And role is a loaded word, right? uh, for those who have reviewed the chapter and who've seen the first video of this about this book and chapter, you understand the meaning of the word role. So how has your role evolved over the years, for example? um, it could be over the years or over months for somebody who has joined recently. And how do you really see differences? So this is really the context of the first question. The second question that I asked our friends is, in your personal experience, how have you experienced equity? um, and the meaning of equity, again, it's a loaded word. It's a very important word that Edgar Schein uses. And the meaning is that, do I feel valued? Do I feel at par with colleagues working with me, playing with me? And we're talking about Frisbee on the ground. So do I feel a sense that I'm valued for my the competence I offer in this team? So that's equity. So, how important is it to you? So, this is the second question, second part of our discussion, and third part, which Sanjay would help us understand better through his experience, is how much of control and influence have I been able to wield in my team over the years? And we have to understand that the word control most often uh, is used negatively in our current worlds, or our experiences. But actually, it's a lovely word. Control is about the right amount of control. So how much of right control and how much of influence am I able to wield on my team members, on my leadership, on my colleagues, or a specific colleague, to be able to succeed in whatever we are doing together? So that's something which we will also explore going forward. And some more parts of that question is, what have it also been my struggles, be it equity, be it control? What have been my struggles in my life, or in my limited experience with this team? What have been my successes? So these are broadly what we'll try to explore. I look forward to you to contribute and add value. In fact, even if you have an opinion after what you listen to, please dive in and we can look at it. All right. So great. So I'd like to request Kanva to be the first one to share about role. Kanva is a member of the Airbenders team from the school, creative school, and he has been with the team over the years and has been an important member. So Kanva, can you share what has been your personal experience in understanding your role, identifying yourself with the team? How has it evolved it ever since you started playing for this team?
So when I started in the team, I didn't really have a role because I was just starting Ultimate and I was just exploring all the fields and I would just do what the captain told me to do. And then uh, as time went by, I realized that I like holding the disc and playing with the disc. And I would ask the captain, can I handle? And like that, I got that handler type of role in the game. So now every time I'm called up on the line, I have the expectation and know that the captain will put in his mind that I'm a handler, I'm good at that, and that's what I do. That's what I do best, and put me to do that. And it feels good to have to know that the captain knows that you're good at so and so, and he knows that if you put, he can trust you and put you to this, and you know you're gonna fulfill it and all that. It's a really solid this thing.
Excellent. And earlier on, when we were talking, I also asked you, so how did you feel about being recognized as a dependable handler, right? And could you experience how that shift happened in your mind from being asked to do anything versus being the so-called favorite handler?
Okay, so I mean, it feels really good to know that people will take your what you can do best into account, and when you're in a new team, then they know that you're good at handling, and that's what they'll make you do. And it feels really good to have a role.
Thank you for sharing. In fact, one element which I just wanted everyone to notice is the pride with which Kanwa is sharing about the fact that, once a role has been identified, then you start, your body language changes, and perhaps even the style of playing and the confidence with which somebody plays in the game changes. It shifts, and that's a very, very important aspect we need to understand. Is the example that Canva is given. Imagine you are the one who is calling the shots, and you are able to give this kind of a confidence to a team member. Hence, one of the questions we need to ask ourselves, whether we are colleagues or whether we are in leadership roles, temporary, long term, whatever roles, is this person identifying himself with a particular contribution? And this, I guess, last time even we had a very good question from Meghna. How do you apply it in a corporate world? How do you log into this? I guess this is a very, very important aspect, right? If we are able to identify ourselves or our team members with a role, then the sense of pride improves. Kanva, I have one more short question for you. Yeah, you personally, what did you do to be able to be identified for such a role? What were your own efforts?
Okay, so how what did I do to get this role? One, yeah, I would ask the captain, can I do this? I really want to do this. I think I'll be good at this. And two, obviously, I had to be good at it. So I would practice, throw the disc, go for drills, ask seniors in the team, how do I do this and all. And uh, I became good at it, and the captain saw that, and yeah, that's it.
So very important two aspects that Canva has brought out. Number one, seen as somebody who's good, who has been on the job, so to say. And the second one is he's not sitting silently waiting for things to happen. He goes around asking, demanding, and making sure that chances are created, right? Thank you, Kanwa. Awesome. Great sharing there. So I will request Bharat to share um, about his experience with equity. Bharat has only 4 months with Airbenders. So this was a very interesting opportunity to have somebody who's new in the team to share how did he experience equity among team members, which means did he feel that his competence uh, was being recognized? Did he feel um, a sense of parity? So, Bharat, how about sharing with us what happened with you? What is your personal experience?
Hi, Srini. So, first of all, I would thank you and everyone for letting me speak in this wonderful community. So, I would like to talk about how I experienced equity in my team. So, when I first came to Bangalore and when I first came to the first Airbenders session, I was very skeptical whether I would fit in or people would like me or I would like the club. I had a lot of questions in mind. After the first session was okay, and I met a few people. Everyone was cool, but I still didn't know a lot of people, and I didn't feel part of the club. It was very, it was not daunting for me, but I was still kept skeptical whether okay, is this the right club, or yeah, am I gonna fit in this environment? But I felt the need to feel included in this team because I wanted some personal connection to the club when I want to play for the team as well. So I started coming often to sessions, and as I started coming to sessions, I started meeting a lot more people, and after that, I felt more connected to the club. So, in my experience, for me, equity has been established by coming for a lot of sessions. And since I wanted to feel included in the club, I made some effort to bridge that gap so that I felt included. And it's been wonderful for me, and I'm getting closer and closer to the club by the moment.
Excellent. Excellent. I guess one important takeaway is, especially in your sharing, what comes out clearly is what did you do to make sure that opportunity is created for you, and in the process, you have been able to establish equity, right, with people.
Yes, Srini.
Ex-
So I wanted to feel included. So I made sure that, okay, I'm not going to blame anyone for this. I'm going to take the blame on myself and put the effort and let the result come as a fruit of what I did.
Yeah, great. And is there any specific struggle or any success that you would recall given the few sessions you have so far been part of?
Yeah, I was skeptical whether people would accept me because I did not get joined in the. I did not join in the WhatsApp. I mean, people didn't join me in the WhatsApp group. So I mean, that's just really a small thing, but it was in my mind for a long time. But finally, people recognize that okay, Bharat really wants to play in this club. So let's give him the chance. And then people talk to me, and then they included me more in the club. As so that was a struggle I faced, but that has been taken care of by the club members. So it's cool now.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you have any comment on the role that Kanwa spoke about? How was your own experience, or have you so far established a role for yourself?
I'm still, as I'm still a very new beginner in the sport. I'm still exploring, and let I can take a few roles, but I will be improving and constantly. I think as the time progresses, I will feel my role would become better in this club. So I don't have a specific role as of now, but I hope that it gets on in the near future.
And I hope, just like Kanwa gave us an example, you would also call out and say exactly what you would like to do.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was a really good thing by Canva.
I'd like to request Sanjay now to share. Sanjay has 5 years with Airbenders, a lot of practice games, a lot of matches played, and I'm curious at this stage of years of association, how has he
Mhm.
dealt with the concept of having control and influence on people who are playing with him, on decisions, on the leadership, a very different level of experience. So Sanjay, would you like to share?
Yes, as you said, like I've been with, I've been part of Airbenders for 5 years now. But as I progress from year to year, like my influence or control towards the team, was not drastic change, but like it was evolving. At the first, it was the first time where I was involved in a forum where all people with all I mean all sort of background and ages were together and playing a common sport. So it was something new for me. But as I went through, I really felt comfortable and how people were really they were approachable to ideas or any input. So as things went on, it was really great. I would like to give an example of when Airbenders hosted a tournament sectionals, the first national sectionals. It was hosted by just Airbenders, but I was the tournament director alongside Sheep, that is Deepthi IP. So with then I had to really channel a lot of work to my to the team members, and this is when Airbenders recruitment was happening at a very rapid pace. Uh, Kids from creative school were coming in and lot from other. I mean, the recruitment was happening really, really rapid, and our pool of players just increased over. Uh, I don't know, like 1 year, we had almost double the players we had. So when we were hosting, I had to channel a lot of work to my teammates, be it whoever from the most established or experienced players to the newcomer kids. So while channeling, I had to make sure if, especially to the new ones, that if it is really if they're able to do a certain task, given I wanted someone to go look for accommodation or something. So I had to see if they're capable of doing it, or do they need any guidance, or what could be the work channeled to them based on their experience or capacity. So as things went on, I felt that given whatever was asked about, they did a really fantastic job, and they made things very comforting for me. I mean, it's just I can say the tradition or the culture of this team is really great. They're open to ideas wherever it comes from. Uh, so yeah, it was relatively easy for me. Be it anybody, just not me, to influence someone if it comes from the right place and the right message is delivered. I think people take it up really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And could you also share any specific example, which is very, very personal example where you have had to struggle with gaining influence either on an activity or any person, be it a game or a decision?
So this was when I was the spirit captain, and there were this was in 2018. There were times when our teams were really struggling. The games and the whole morale of the team was down. And I mean, being a spirit captain, it's not just how people do their accreditation or they're well known with the rules. It's also about how you take up the whole team's morale. So there was this one instance where we were down by few points, and everybody were kind of not in that same spirit as the game started. So what I started doing is I started going around and talking to people, saying it's the game is still on. We haven't lost it yet. Let's not put our heads down or drop our shoulders. There is still a way, and I mean, it just went about, and we started gaining good momentum parallelly. So parallelly is not the right word, but we just got the momentum on our side, and to my good luck, whatever I went around doing things, talking to people, just helping them if they had a bad point, going and talking to them, it just helped. And we kind of turned it around in the second half. So that, personally, I felt that if I could channel the energy I have with to the team, and whoever, if they are down or feeling low, that because of the few points lost, it just, you shouldn't give up there, and you can channel your energy towards the team and help them get back up.
Great, great. Thank you for that example, Sanjay. I also want to hear from Kanva, if you can come back on air, so to say,
Yeah.
and share Kanva in your experience. You have a variety of exposures, be it a school-based team or be it the Airbenders regular team. You have traveled also. Have you also experienced a need to control sometimes? We're saying, why don't these guys listen to me? I want to control this particular aspect of the decision or this aspect of the game. Have you tried control and what did you experience?
So first of all, I mean, in school teams, yeah, because the players are really new, and I might be able to know something that they don't. So I can tell them this is how you do it and all that. But in Airbenders team, I haven't really have not felt the necessity to have control in the team or have any influence. But if I need to, I think I would always ask or put in my opinion.
Bharat, would you like to also think about your own past experience in your limited exposure of 4 months, and before that in other teams, other part of your sporting experience? Have you faced any challenges or experiences with wanting to control outcomes, and what has been the experience?
As a team member, as a newly joined member, I don't have the requirement to control others' actions, or because I'm not that experienced in this sport, so I might not be the best person to give advice. Okay, you should have done this, or you should not have not done this. So I feel that for me, as a newly joined member, I think I should wait for some years, or at least till I have adequate experience to control someone's actions, or at least tell them one small advice or suggestion. So I can give minor advices, like, okay, but I cannot control much because I haven't thought about it much. Yeah, that's it. That's about it.
Great, great. So one of the reasons why we're addressing these questions today and also reminding ourselves of what's written in the chapter is it is not wrong on behalf of any individual, new or tenured, to actually want to do all of these things, right? Though through the form of questioning, it appears as though that only experienced people like Sanjay can talk about control and influence, and as you said that oh, I don't have enough experience, so I will not want control. But one assumption and one reality from psychology is that every individual, no matter how young or old or experienced or not in each team, needs a level of control on the outcomes. If you are able to share it as team members, then that person learns faster and becomes part of a team much faster. Otherwise, it could take several years before people start speaking up on how they disagreed with certain decisions. Just because they're new, they don't really open up and speak up. So it's very important to understand that it's natural. It is okay to take charge, to take control whenever it is the situation warrants so, and in the process, be willing to learn, at the same time not hesitate and stay back from saying what seems to be necessary, right? So that's the reason why I asked this question. So it's very important, Bharat, to remember that it's fine 4 months or 5 years on the ground. That's where is equity again, it comes back, is can you still stand up and speak, and can people actually pause and listen to you, so just as much as they listen to other people with experience. Only then are we looking at the examples. Even if you remember from the last video and chapter reading, Edgar Schein gives examples of doctors taking advice from nurses, surgeons listening to nurses, uh, not because they do not know about something, but they understand that there is a contribution each person makes, and it is very critical. And that's when entire team can really come together and achieve its goals. That's what actually separates good to great, as one would call it. Maybe at a future time we can talk about that great book, but that's what really creates greatness, if you are able to uh, answer some of these questions for yourself, and see if we can learn from these experiences. The reason why I ask these questions to these three friends, who thank you so much to Bharat, Sanjay, and Kanva for putting in the effort and thinking about these questions, for those of you who are watching this, you should be able to ask yourself these questions. What is my role, right? What is the level of influence I wield in this team, and what is uh, how does equity work for me? In fact, there are other questions also. If you remember, in Edgar Schein's book, they talk about what is the level of intimacy I enjoy, right? This is another beautiful question that we can also explore at some point of time. Is do I really enjoy intimacy? Do I feel the sense of family? And if all of these are answered in the affirmative, which means we have good examples, good and bad exist, but if we have more good examples, then we are moving much better towards a great time being part of Airbenders. That was the purpose of doing this exercise. So thank you for listening. Thank you for speaking. You guys contributed beautifully, and I'm glad to bring you guys back into this review once again of the chapter. We do have the opportunity of a female question. If
I actually don't have a question, but I just wanted to thank Kanwa sharing and how, based off what he said, something that you surmised really made a lot of sense to me, which was on how somebody's role also kind of reaffirms their identity or gives them pride. I'd never thought about, giving people roles or responsibilities to generate a feeling of pride and ownership. And I thought that was like the most beautiful takeaway for me.
Wonderful, wonderful, great, great, and thanks for bringing in that comment. I think each of these sharings are very valuable because they're highly authentic. They come from personal experience, right? So no book can beat that. That's the idea of bringing, and I guess that's a bigger message from today's session is how much of this can we translate into personal lives and how much can we learn from personal lives, and that's what reconfirms what we read. Thank you for that, Meghna. Great.